All right, it's here. The finale is here. You all donated for this. We're going to make it happen. This is going to be Pokemon Red Any Glitchless. My name is Conception2. You've probably seen me enough, or at least heard my voice enough. I also have a commentator with me if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hello, yes. I am NES_. You also maybe have seen me. I played some Honey Monkey and some Pocket Monster as well.
That's right. Yeah, we were the Pokemon Wrecking Crew last night. We're gonna close out the marathon with it now as well. So let's thank you everyone who donated to make this run happen. It was originally our goal that the marathon would earn $500, and here we are sitting at over 2,300 right now. So thank you so much. But let's get started. First, we got to do a couple of options. Switch the text speed to fast and battle animations off. All right. Timer will start in 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you. All right, so basically we just have some text mashing here. There's actually optimal ways to even mash this beginning text, so I'm gonna try and do that as best as possible. Not too bad, missed a couple of frame perfect text masters, but you're gonna notice here first off that we have to nickname our character a one-letter name. We don't have to nickname our rival a one-letter name, but it is absolutely the fastest way to do it. That is just because in this first generation of Pokemon games, each letter that scrolls in a text box is one frame. So it takes quite a bit of time if we have names that are multiple lengths. But I have good news for you. Since we had to unfortunately scrap our original Pokemon White 2 run that was earlier in the marathon, but we had already had plenty of donations towards some nicknames for Pokemon there, you're gonna see those nicknames pop up in this run instead. So thank you so much for those who donated towards those. All right, of course, we're gonna pick Squirtle. We're gonna nickname Squirtle one character as well. It's actually gonna be very important for an RNG manipulation we have later on. Not a glitch, just an RNG manipulation. Don't
same thing. Close enough.
Don't ban me. And now we have our first rival fight of the game. You also saw at the beginning of the game, before I left my own room, I actually went into the PC and grabbed a potion that is there. That's purely for safety for this fight. We do have like a very small percentage of a chance to die in this rival fight, and we need the experience. So we just grabbed the potion just in case. Just a little marathon safety for you. Ooh, tackle miss. So we talked a lot about percentage of moves and Nessa's run there. Do you know the tackle percentage accuracy?
It's like really, really accurate. It's like 95 or something, right?
It is 95, and I've missed it twice now. So
wow, I love Pokemon Stadium speedruns. Let's go.
Yeah, yep, exactly. 95% going on 10%, which is how all Pokemon moves work. So
yeah, if it's not 100%, even in Gen 1, like, even if it's 100%, it is basically, like, 30%.
Yep. But we successfully got through, no problems there. That was a pretty average fight, too. Not too much to report. The Bulbasaur there it has two moves, which are Tackle and Growl. Growl lowers our attack. So it can, make it annoying by continuously, spamming Growl, which lowers our attack and things of that nature. So it makes it a little bit slow. But we didn't get too over growled.
Real quick, okay, we're coming for another donation?
Go for it.
All right, so we got $4 from R30 Heatron saying, choo choo.
Let's get that train going.
Yeah, let's see this train going. Again, I just want to reiterate, if everyone in chat just donates about $4, we will make this 3K goal. That's how, easy it is to make this goal. So if you guys got $4 to spare, maybe, you can skip out on your Starbucks for tomorrow, and donate to this amazing cause. we would be utterly grateful.
Yeah, please get those donos. And it may seem like the goal is out of reach, and I can tell you from experience from even earlier today with our friends at Midwest Speed Fest that no goal is out of reach. So let's get that goal met.
Yeah, their original goal, just put this into like perspective, it was like 1,000 or 2 or something. But now like they finished out the marathon with like 10,000, which is insane.
Yeah.
So let's saying we can't get up to like 3K.
Yeah, I think that's a very reasonable goal. Just a quick note as well, you might have seen that first encounter that I got, which was a level 3 Rattata. We want to kill at least one encounter between now and, actually just between now and the Brock fight really, but we just need one encounter just to get enough experience, because we only have one optional trainer between now and Brock. Actually one trainer we have to battle, I should say, between now and Brock, and that trainer will give us enough experience if we hit an encounter to bump us from level 6 to level 8. So at level 8, Squirtle will then learn Bubble, which is very important, obviously, to defeat some rock-type Pokemon in Brock's gym.
Just as a quick question, is there a particular reason why you went to the side instead of just talking to the front?
Absolutely. We actually, it's an interesting point. We have two options that are exact to the frame, but we talked to Oak there from the side because we, as you saw, our rival comes up from the bottom of the screen about halfway through the conversation. Now our rival moves at half the speed that we do. So we try whenever we can to negate as much of his walking as he can whenever he comes on screen. So if we talk to Oak from the side, there's less room for him to walk from the bottom of the screen up. So it negates his steps. Another option is that we can actually walk behind Oak and talk to him from behind, which actually makes it so the rival has to walk even less steps, but we have to walk a couple extra, but it's actually exact to the frame, so it doesn't really matter which one you do.
It's actually very interesting.
Yeah.
And it's just optimized like that.
Yeah, this run is one of the more optimized runs that I've ever seen in my life. But first, I'm going to buy 4 Pokeballs here, and then I have a very key thing happening with Rng Manipulation, so I'm just going to be silent for a second while I focus on that. Do a quick swap there, and then we're actually going to reset the game here. I'll talk about what I'm doing after it's done. Very good, that means I did it right. Excellent, all right, perfect. Thank you for that round of applause. So a lot just happened there. First of all, let me address this. I said we're gonna do some Pokemon nicknames. You might have noticed I named Nidoran a 1 character name there. We are gonna change Nidoran's name later on. Ooh, trolled. But I need his name to be 1 character for now. For another Rng Manipulation we'll do later. But I will change it, don't worry. But what happened there? We did an extended Rng Manipulation. What that means is I saved at a very specific tile on the ground, and I reset. When I'm doing a reset and the game is going through its opening BIOS and its opening credits sequences and stuff like that, I'm holding very specific inputs to cause the game to have a consistent outcome every time. Then when I'm launched into the game, I am moving in an exact pattern while also doing A presses on very specific tiles. If done correctly, that's going to give me the exact encounter that I wanted, which was that level 4 Nidoran. And the manipulation is further extended by me being frame perfect on the inputs when I get the encounter, that I can throw the ball and it will go in guaranteed first time every time. So kind of an extended manipulation there.
That's a good time to read in a few donations here.
Go for it.
Sure thing. Okay, so we have $4 from Anonymous saying choo choo, getting that hype train going on. And we got another donation here, $22 from Steve Online, Steve TV Online. Conception, don't forget to talk to Nick.
Shout outs to Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone for Game Boy Color. An excellent game that more people should play.
And then we got $4 from, I'm going to butcher this here, but I'm going to try to say it anyway. Leica in Space. Space Dog Leica supports our siblings. Supports her sibling. Good luck on the run. Good luck around the
Oh, okay.
Good luck on the run, Nate.
Let's just restart.
Yeah, give that one another shot for me.
Okay, take two. Okay. $4 from Leica in Space. Space Dog Leica supports her siblings. Good luck on the run, Nate. Pikachu cosplay win?
Should have painted my rosy little cheeks there, but thank you so much. A couple of wonderful members of my community. I appreciate that so much. Leica in Space is actually named after the first dog that went into space, which is very cool. Well, all right, so a few things just happened there. One, you might have saw that when I was in Viridian Forest, I took a very specific path and I did not hit a single encounter, which if you played this game, you might have been like, what happened there? You didn't use a repel or anything like that. Well, let me save and then I'll tell you. Actually, no, I need to do something else first. Oops. First, I need to do this. Oh, I didn't nickname my Nidoran. Whoops. All right. Well, that should be interesting for later on. All right, save. All right. So, if you walk in a very specific pattern in Viridian Forest, there are tiles that have little flowers on the corner, and if you walk over those tiles, they actually have a 1/3 chance to spawn an encounter in comparison to the other tiles. So we exploit that by walking on as many of those tiles as possible, and I actually just got lucky that I didn't hit any encounters, but you can hit one or two, probably that's it at most though, when you do that. Then we fought that one trainer that we could not skip, obviously, which had a Weedle. As you saw, since we had the proper experience, we bumped it from level 6 to level 8 on our Squirtle. Obviously, now that we walked to Brock, we are fighting Brock, but we have Nidoran out front, and that is purely so Nidoran can get some experience. After this Brock fight, Nidoran is going to be our exclusive Pokemon. Screech is fine. Luckily, so one thing that can influence this fight as well is if the Squirtle has good special or not. If Squirtle had bad special, it makes this fight a lot more dangerous. Luckily, I checked after the Weedle fight that we had, and our Squirtle has pretty good special, actually, so we got a little bit lucky there. We want to make sure Nidoran gets to specifically level 8, because in Gen 1, if you skip a level and you're supposed to learn a move at that level, you will not learn that move. So if we had, if Nidoran had, fought that Weedle, for example, in order to get more experience, it'd be too high level. And it would skip learning Horn Attack, and Horn Attack is a very important move for the route. But that's Brock down, 1 badge of 8 complete.
Yeah, just something quick to note. Between the different Gen 1 games, so like between Red and Blue and then Yellow actually has a different Nidoran Minute. I think it's slightly higher level, I don't remember exactly, but it is a very slightly different Minute, which makes the route a bit different.
Yeah, that's a great point. And not only is the Manip different, they catch it in a completely different spot. It is a different level when you catch it. And in Yellow, the Nidoran can learn a slightly different moveset. So for example, it can learn Double Kick, which is a fighting move. So you actually use Nidoran during the Brock fight because fighting moves can take down rock types pretty easily.
Yeah. As well as that, the Mount Manipulation is a bit different, I think.
I can't speak on that as much because I haven't ran Yellow personally, but there are, even in this game, there are a few different moon manips that you can do, which we can get into as we approach it in a little bit here.
I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple different options. But yeah, as I mentioned, we are Nidoran purists from this point forward. So right as I left the gym, I paused and I actually switched the battle type from shift to set, which means that in between Pokemon that we defeat, it will no longer ask us, do you want to switch Pokemon? Because we don't need to. So it just saves text boxes. And then, yep, we're just taking these Pokemon down little bit by little. In this first trainer, we're using a Leer on the Pokemon all at the beginning, which lowers their defense. And then if we get lucky, the first one we have to Horn Attack twice, and sometimes it still might not die. But if we get lucky, the second two, we can just Horn Attack once and then tackle the rest. Of course, Tackle is a 95% accurate move, so there's always a chance it misses, but the chance we have to take.
At least it's not Thunder.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we actually don't need that antidote at all anymore, so I tossed it. And that is because Nidoran is a poison... oh, sure, I didn't mean to save here, but why not? Can't hurt. Nidoran is a poison type, so that means it cannot be poisoned. So we don't have to worry about that in the run, which is great.
Also, shout out to that trainer. He says something about shorts.
That's right, yep. He says, I love shorts. They're easy, they're comfy and easy to wear. So this trainer is affectionately referred to as Shorts Kid.
Yeah, shout out to wearing shorts. I'm wearing shorts right now.
Same.
They are comfy and easy to wear.
Same, honestly.
Heck yeah. If you are wearing shorts in the chat room, be sure to drop a donation telling us. Don't tell us in chat, only in donation.
Yeah. I'm actually not reading chat, so but I can listen to donations. I can submit that. All right, so this with Ekans is really annoying because of this exactly. So you saw in Ness's run of Pokemon Stadium last night, Wrap is a very frustrating move because it leaves our Pokemon out of contention until the Wrap ends, and that can go from 2 to 5 turns. This Ekans obviously has it. It is probably, I think it's like 1 in 3 to use it, I want to say. And therefore I get it 98% of the time.
Yeah, it's supposed to be not likely, but here we are getting it basically every time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so our Nidoran is getting more powerful and more powerful. We actually don't need to worry about using Leer as much, which is great. Our health is in an okay spot as long as we don't get hit too much. And the reason why I say that, because you might be wondering, well, our health is actually pretty low. Shouldn't you be a little bit worried? In Gen 1 games, there is a mechanic that we call in the community Red Bar. So what that means is we want to be lower than 20% of our health as much as we can without obviously making it too risky for us. And that is because you'll hear that be-doo, be-doo, be-doo sound effect. And when that sound effect is playing, it actually skips level up jingles and Pokemon cries. So it is a lot faster when we have it. It makes fights, move rapidly. So if we can exploit that as much as we can, we will.
Yeah, but you guys are just gonna have to get used to hearing it.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna hear it a lot in the run. We might not hear it here. Doesn't seem like we will, but it's there's a good chunk of the run that we're gonna be in Red Bar for quite a large amount of time. So.
Yeah, Red Bar is basically like the torrent of this game, except it just makes the game faster.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. All right, we have one more trainer we have to fight on this route here, which is this bug catcher.
I do have a question, actually.
Feel free.
I don't know if we mentioned it during my stadium run, but there are a lot of routes for Pokemon games. Are you familiar with any of the main routes in Red and Blue?
I wish I was. I'm not aware of how to run them. I am aware of some popular choices that people have made when doing it. A popular choice obviously was before Nidoran, and the Nidoran line was shown to be very good in terms of running. Blastoise and the Squirtle line was what people were used. So people will run Blastoise percent. All the starter percents are pretty popular. So Blastoise, Venusaur, Charizard. Raticate is actually another semi-popular one because Raticate has insane speed. I've seen Mankey runs. I've seen some crazy stuff out there. Haven't run
Yeah,
any
I'm only
myself.
like really curious because like in some of the other Kanto games, like in LGPE, you use Starmie, right?
Mhm.
I know that in like Gen 4 you use like Tentacruel because Tentacruel's really good. Tentacruel's in this game, I think.
Yeah, I've heard of pretty much any Pokemon you can think of has probably had a route by somebody, especially in Gen 1, which is probably one of the most popular games to run. So I'm actually going to use one of our nicknames here. This is our second place winner. Shout outs to It Was Me DL. That is going to be our flyer. We're obviously going to use our first place winner for our Nidoking, but that won't come until about halfway through the run, unfortunately. But here we are. We're actually going to enter Mount Moon, and I'm going to need some quiet time here, if we don't mind, just because I need a lot of focus. Probably the hardest thing to pull off in the run here, at least from the save point forward. I just have to do some heal up for Nidoran here, and then we're gonna save and reset. Again, I'll go into what we're doing after we do it.
It seems we got a bit of a quiet moment here. I thought I'd pop in again. Just reminding everybody, just if you donate a few dollars, then we'll easily, everyone could just donate a few dollars. We could easily make, just crush this 3K goal. So please, if you got just a few dollars to spare, please donate. If you can't, I understand. But if you can, be amazing. Again, everyone who has already donated, who's been overly, either overly, like crazy generous or just, again, has donated in general. Thank you guys so much. Again, we would love to see this end on the 3K goal.
Yes, absolutely. So unfortunately, I did fail the moon manip there. Basically, what we would like to do is I did, again, similar to what I did with the Nidoran, I did very specific inputs on the reboot and doing specific A presses in the overworld as well. And that manipulation will prevent encounters happening if done correctly. Now, this manip is very difficult and takes, I think it's like a minute and a half with like 30 different A presses or something like that. So it's very hard to do. So I'm not surprised that I missed it, but we do have a backup here. And if I could just get some quiet time slow on this one. Okay, so we got it. So there's actually a manipulation here that you can do with the Paris in order for it to guarantee that it goes inside the ball first try, similar to what we had with the Nidoran. However, because I neglected to nickname my Nidoran a one character name, we actually are going to, we would not be able to do it because it is frame specific. So I'm actually just gonna catch it the old fashioned way with a weaken and a ball throw. Just a little bit slower. Obviously it eats up our health as well, but that is important. So if you thought that that Paris was a mistake, it wasn't. We actually need this Paris, which we are going to nickname Monty Mole, of course. Oops, not Monty Molf. There we go. All right.
Molf.
Yep. We actually have all of the Pokemon we need in total for the run now, which is great. Actually, since we're here, I'm going to toss this extra Pokeball and save, just because this next fight is a little bit scary and it is very easy to die. Yes, so we need, so the 4 Pokemon we have here are all we are going to need for the entire run, so we're not catching anything else. Paris is really great because Paris will give us the ability for it to use dig and cut in the same Pokemon, which is great. All right, so we're gonna we leer the rat here because I'm a little bit short on horn attacks. If I had 4 horn attacks or more here, I would have just horn attacked it to death basically. But because we didn't, I went ahead and leered it first to save a horn attack, so I had 2 for Zubat. Perfect, the Zubat is cooperating, which is great. Excellent. Good. So I was almost certain that that was going to kill. I'm surprised it didn't on the second horn attack, especially since I got a crit on the first one, but I think I got a very low roll on the second hit. All right, but we're through that, and then this is exactly why we use Nidoran. One of many reasons, but this one in particular is it's all in this menu. So Nidoran's going to evolve into Nidorino after I use a rare candy here at level 16. After we evolve it into Nidorino, we're going to teach Nidorino one of the 2 TMs that we picked up in the route, which is a TM for Water Gun. Ridiculous that I can even learn it, I know. So we're going to teach Nidorino Water Gun. Over tackle here.
There's a water gun TM?
Yep, there sure is. And then now we get to use the Moonstone we picked up and evolve Nidorino into Nidoking right away. So we already, before Badge 2, we have Nidoking, and then we're going to teach Nidoking Mega Punch afterwards. You got something for us, Sloa?
Yeah, I have a couple donations here, if it's all right.
Go for it.
All right, so we got $4 from Raitaro. Commentating the Doom run was a blast. Also, heard there was a train. Indeed, Raitaro, there is. There's a dono train going. Let's not let that end, guys. Let's keep getting it going. We also have $50 from Ray saying Gen 1 best gen.
Hard agree. Hard
subjective.
Agree. Yeah, definitely subjective, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and say hard agree. It's my favorite gen, I'll say. Maybe it's not the best, but it's my favorite.
If it gets the donuts in, I'll agree.
Sounds good.
Kidding. I'm joking. But again, that puts us at $2,402. Again, we want to try and hit that 3K mark by the end of this run. Nothing would make me more happier. Let's see.
Also, just to realize what that would mean exactly. So we're at 2,400 right now, obviously. If we had hit 3K before the end of my run here, we would have to get $600. Just to put all of this in perspective, our original goal for our 6-day marathon was $500. And now we're talking about hitting 3K and getting $600 in one run. Let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah, that's just insane growth.
Also, shout out to Helix.
Just to touch on this, because it was mentioned earlier, damage ranges. Basically, we went over this kind of during the stadium run, but just as like a TLDR version, moves have like it's like a 16 like value range where I don't really know how to explain it very well. It's like 16 different amounts of damage you could do, and it just kind of rolls the dice and picks whatever. And it can range from really low damage to like insane damage. And some of the fights really rely on some really good rolls. At least in Stadium, they do. Yeah, I assume it's the same in this game.
We definitely have some. When we get into like the mid to late game, there's a little bit less of that just because we're just so uberly powerful at that point. But especially in some of these early to mid game ones, we hope to see some ranges as much as we can. All right, so we're gonna save here. That gives us a warp point for later on, but we're going to do an exploit here that saves us some time, and it's called instant text. So what this does, so we talk to this bike shop owner and we mash B out of it. And what this does is, you might have noticed with text boxes in Gen 1 that whenever there is text, it scrolls onto the box until it's complete. By doing this, by simply just talking to the bike shop owner and mashing B out of it, it makes it so that instead of text boxes scrolling text, it appears in the box instantly, therefore being called instant text. It's a highly contentious little exploit, to the point that when it was first discovered by a runner named Swaff, it was included in runs until somebody got the world record using it. Then it was decided it was a glitch, so they took it out and made a whole separate category for it. And then they decided, you know what, it's not a glitch because all you're doing is talking to somebody. So now it is included in regular runs again. However, when we're actually getting ready to do a Pokemon Red Any Glitchless speedrunning tournament, and it's actually going to be banned in that tournament just because it's so easy to lose instant text that it kind of makes it a little bit unusual for races, because it can make races get out of hand early, and it's a little bit less fun for the viewer. So that Pidgeotto is very annoying always because it has Sand Attack, and unfortunately I did get hit with Sand Attack once. If my health starts getting too low here and I start missing too many things, which I've already missed like 3 different things now, I'm gonna actually swap out and swap back in to get rid of it. However, that means I'll lose instant text, because instant text is lost by entering a menu of any kind or answering a yes or no question. So if I had to go and swap into a menu, then I would lose it. So I'm trying not to, which this is fine. This fight was real slow, but we got through it and with minimal damage, so we'll take it. We might, depending on what kind of fights we get on Nugget Bridge here, we might end up losing it anyway, because we might have to go into our menu to heal. But that's fine. We still have it as of right now.
Yeah, at least you still have it. Mm-hmm. It does save quite a bit of time just because this text scrolling takes like forever. Yep,
it takes such a long time. So it's definitely, you definitely go for it for, you know, world record or PB attempts, obviously. But in a racing format, it does make it so it can be the difference between winning a race and losing a race, and it's because it's 30 minutes into a 2-hour run, it kind of makes it not so fun to race. You could lose the race from that point forward and then still have to run another hour and a half, so it's not super fun. That first trainer went perfectly fine, no complaints. A lot of the quite a few of these trainers lead with a Pidgey. I think 2 or 3 of them do, which we're gonna Mega Punch, and it is a favorable range to kill, which we missed, of course.
Good job.
Yeah, it's like it knew I was gonna talk about it. They also have Sand Attack, so I can make things relatively annoying. And the fact that I got Quick Attack twice and damaged by this Nidoran is putting my health in a precarious situation, but we'll see what we get going forward.
You did mention before that Mega Punch isn't 100% accurate.
That's correct. Yeah. Luckily, so I missed like 4 on the rival fight, but I was also Sand Attacked, so that had something to do with it. But Mega Punch is an 85% accurate move that does a lot. It's very powerful, but yeah, it's 85% going on 20%. Hey, there's one.
Let's go.
This Ekans is a range with a Mega Punch. We got it though. And then this Zubat is not a range with as long as Mega Punch hits. It is an unfavorable range if we use Horn Attack, which is guaranteed to hit, obviously. But yeah, why risk it? All right, so yeah, another Pidgey here. Another Quick Attack, which is really unfortunate. We are in red bar, oh geez, which is helpful. I can't remember if we level up before the next fight right now. If we don't, we're actually gonna have to heal, which is unfortunate. Yeah, we're definitely gonna have to heal now. So we're gonna lose instant text after this fight, unfortunately. We could actually keep it all the way through Nugget Bridge and then the next route that we do, if we're lucky, which of course I'm not, so.
Yeah, this is a Pokemon speedrun.
Yeah, what's luck? I do have an option. I could go back here and get it again, but because I'm so far up the bridge, it's not worth it. The walking speed alone doesn't make it worth doing.
If you were at the first one, would it be worth it?
Yeah, my cutoff is usually rival and then the first two trainers. I'll consider going back depending on pace. If I lose it by the third trainer, I don't even bother on this bridge here.
Also, shout out to the Mankey sprite. That did not age very well.
No. One important thing to keep in mind was with Red and Blue specifically, not Yellow, Red and Blue. Red and Blue came out before the anime show did. So a lot of these sprites are obviously, they used as a basis, but then they elevated significantly when the show came out. So there are some that are just a little unfortunate looking, to say the least.
Unfortunate looking really does describe it.
Yeah, we're gonna see some other cuties later on too. I'm excited. But then we got Zubat here, which is basically perfect as a perfect translation into the manga, or to the well, I guess the manga, but more so the anime.
I thought you were talking about Zubat being a very good Pokemon. I was gonna say yes,
No.
he's the best play.
Oh, okay, okay, fair enough. Yeah. No, for the speedrun, he's not.
He's one of my faves. Oh yeah, not for the speedrun. The speedrun.
Yeah.
Ooh, he can mess you up.
Yeah, absolutely. I went ahead and used Horn Attack there. It's a range, and I knew it was a range when I used it, but because I did have to heal, I actually would like to take a little bit of damage here to try and get into red bar to help salvage a little bit of that time that I lost for not keeping instant text, which I took a little bit of a hit, so it wasn't too bad. But I probably won't get into red bar before this section ends.
Unless you get really unlucky, but...
Yeah, so this Onix, we're going to Water Gun. It has no shot of damaging us because we outspeed it. The next trainer has a Nidoran female and a Nidoran male. We one-shot the Nidoran male unless Mega Punch misses, obviously. And then we two-shot the Nidoran female, so we could take some damage here. But we'll just have to wait and see. Ah, yes, my son. Ah, we got a miss. Perfect. How many do I have left? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fine. We can use another one here. Ah, another miss.
Let's go.
I'm gonna heal, actually. This is just too low now. One hit was fine. But if we had missed again and then got hit by Nidoran female as well, we would be in a very precarious spot, so no thank you. Yes.
Actually, if anyone in the chat sees that that Mega Punch misses, but we don't mention it, just feel free to tell us, but only in a donation.
Yeah, again. Only a donation. Also, another thing that's really cool to do with Pokemon speedruns in a marathon, shout out some of your favorite Pokemons with their dex numbers as donations. Love that. I love when marathons do that. So good.
But if you do want to do that, I may attempt to do some Pokemon cries. I heard that's really fun.
Oh yeah, that's also popular. Yeah, for sure. I could join in on that if I know them. I honestly am not super knowledgeable about Pokemon cries, but I'll try my best.
Me neither.
Yeah. Unfortunately don't have the hands to look it up at the moment, but
yeah, just to mention, Jinx is Dex number 124, so if everyone in the chat donates $124, we will be at our goal.
Yeah, very quickly as it turns out.
Yeah.
This Machop is a range with Horn Attack, which we didn't even come close to, but I wanted to get hit by it anyway, so it's fine. We didn't quite get into Red Bar. I was hoping it would use Karate Chop. Karate Chop is actually very, very favorable to crit as a move. But we unfortunately didn't get a crit, so it just did base damage, and that was not enough to put us in Red Bar, so... Oh well.
Usually we don't want crits, so that's kind of funny.
There's a lot of backwards logic in this speedrun. Sometimes, even when we get a crit ourselves, it's not good. We're actually out of that window now, but there's some important stuff at the beginning. For example, that Weedle fight that we did near the beginning with Squirtle. If we tail whip twice to lower its defense significantly, and if we had then crit when using a tackle, it actually would do less damage because critical hits ignore all status changes. So if we had crit tackled, it would do less damage than if we had landed a tackle with 2 defense losses. So it makes it so it turns that into from a 4 hit into a 5 hit. So that actually would have slowed us down. And there's a couple fights in the beginning of the game that do that. We're kind of out of the woods with that now, though. Oops.
Was that fixed in later generations?
I think so.
Okay.
We learn a very important move at level 23, which is Thrash. And we'll get into a little bit with that in just a few minutes. But first, we got to grab this hidden ether, which is also very important. So we could have kept instant text all the way up to there. Because we learned Thrash at level 23 and you have to answer yes or no to learning it, we would have lost it there regardless. Because it's a yes or no question. So we would have lost it there if all things had went well. But all those trainers we could have had it for. And unfortunately, we just didn't get lucky enough. This is Bill. Bill's a little weird. He has this machine that he turned himself into a Pokemon by accident. But we fixed it, and then he's going to give us an SSN ticket as a thank you, which is important to progress the story.
The Let's Go Pikachu Eevee cutscene for this was actually like really cool.
I played through it when I got it, but I have to go back and play through it again just to see some of the cool differences. But okay, so we used a rare candy there to level up once to level 24. And that'll be important in a second. But I want to point out there as well, I also used an escape rope, which I picked up back in Mount Moon. This game is very weird with buildings and giving you the ability to warp out of them. So there are a lot of buildings that you can use escape ropes or the move dig to get out of, and we exploit that quite a bit to make it a little bit easier to teleport. We're going to pick up instant text again here, and if all goes well, we can keep it through the Misty Fight and then all the way through SSN, and then we would lose it shortly after by default. Again, we'll have to see what we get, but if things go well. So we don't go directly to Misty here, and that is because we are just slightly too low of a level for us to have a good shot of winning successfully. So we used that rare candy to level us to 24. We're going to come here and use Thrash and take out this trainer, which we would have to anyway to progress the story. That Machop is a range, but we got a crit, so that's cool. This Drowsy is a very favorable range, but it is a range, and I missed it, of course, but we got Pound, and that's perfectly fine. But that Drowsy is actually really scary of a range to miss because it can use some very bad moves like Disable or Confusion that do a good chunk of damage, or make it so I can't use Thrash, which is annoying. But we got lucky.
Yeah, it's really scary if any of your Pokemon get disabled, just in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Thrash is a particularly bad one. So let's talk about Thrash for a second. So Thrash is a move in Gen 1. It changes a little bit in later gens, but in Gen 1, it's a move that lasts between 3 and 4 turns that does a hefty amount of damage, but then it will confuse the user afterwards. So the way we exploit this is that we try not to use it for it to last more than 3 turns as much as possible. Because then we won't be confused and then have to go into potentially hurting ourselves in confusion and all that. So if I got disabled on Thrash, it would stop my cycle in the middle of it, and I can't get out of it because I'm still stuck in the Thrash cycle. When you use Thrash, you can't pick another move, so you kind of get stuck until it's able to be used again.
Yeah, it does sound like we're like selling Thrash like really short, it's really useful. Like think of like if you have a Dragonite and it learns like Outrage, that's basically the normal type version of Outrage.
All right, something really scary just happened, but we got lucky. This Misty Fight is kind of a make or break point, not for, you know, like if I died I would have lost the run or something, but what could have happened is this Misty Fight is very easy to die to. If I had died to it, I would have to change my route in terms of the money I spend, because every time you die, you lose half of the money you have. So, and we need to do some key shopping points later on the run. So I would have had to change the things I buy and the things that I pick up. And it would, if I had died, it would have made the run much less safe. So I'd have had to save more and stuff. What had happened there, what is designed to happen there, I should say, is that between Staryu and Starmie, one Thrash that does 3 turns can kill it. We enters the Starmie fight at level 24, defeat it with 1 Thrash, which is guaranteed. And then we level to 25 after Staryu, which is very important because as we hit level 25, we are now faster than Starmie. So we get to go first. We hit the Thrash, and then unfortunately what she did is she used an X defend, which makes it so now my third Thrash won't do enough damage to kill her, which means that I have to hope that I get a 4-turn Thrash. If I didn't, then I would have been confused, which would have been very scary, and I probably would have swapped to one of my lower level Pokemon and made it a little bit safer. But luckily we got the 4-turn Thrash and it worked out. So some scary stuff there. And we still have instant text, by the way. One thing I think I neglected to mention as well, when I manipulated this Nidoran, I didn't manipulate it just so that I'd get a level 4 instead of a level 3 and that it would go in the ball the first time. The manipulation also manipulates a very specific Nidoran that has specific stats. And that manipulation I did made it so that this Nidoran is basically the God Nidoran. It has almost perfect stats across the board. So it's very fast. The only stat that isn't perfect, I believe, is defense, but it's like almost perfect. It's like 1 or 2 values off from being perfect or something like that. But it has like max attack, max speed, decent special, things like that. So this is a very specific Nidoran.
Yeah, for how easy that manip is, it's kind of insane that is that good.
Yep. Exactly. That's what makes these earlier gen runs so unique, is that since we have RNG manipulation, we kind of have a set path that we can go in terms of optimization. What makes later gen Pokemon runs more challenging is that since that RNG manipulation doesn't exist, they constantly have to adapt on the fly, which there are very few points that we have to adapt on the fly in this run because a lot of our values are just set. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, manipulations exist all the way up to Gen 4. They do stop with Heart Gold Soul Silver just because of the way that RNG works in the later generations. But in Gen 1 and to an extent Gen 2, it's mostly just save, reset the console, be really good at the game. Gen 3 is kind of the same thing, but it's different. There's a lot more variables. And Gen 4 is you have to like set the time and you have to do all this extra stuff. It's kind of really hard.
Yeah.
Someone who runs Gen 4.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot more challenges there. Now, don't get me wrong, these earlier gen runs have plenty of RNG that can ruin it. It's not just like, hey, let me pick up the run and get world record super easy. You're not gonna be able to do that. But as opposed to like having to know what the stats of my Pokemon are exactly to determine whether I should take this route, or should I use this move or this move, use this item and things like that. We don't have to do that as much, which is nice. It makes learning the route a lot easier. The barrier for entry is lower that way as well. So here we are at Rival 3, which is aboard the SSAN. He throws out that Pidgeotto, which is just as annoying as it is the first time, except that we have one, we can defeat it in one less turn than we did originally. So we are again hoping to not get Sand Attack there, which we didn't. So that's great. This fight went pretty much perfectly.
Optimal luck, let's go.
Yeah, the only way that that run could have been more optimal is if between Misty and here, if we had taken a bit more damage and have been in red bar, that obviously would have been faster because we would skip all these jingles. But I also like not dying, so that's good too.
Not dying seems pretty fast for a Pokemon run.
Yeah, it's definitely optimal. We like to not die as much as possible. But we talked to the Cut Master, who's the captain of the ship. We now have Cut, and we're gonna that's all we need to do on the SSN is get defeat our rival and get Cut, and now we can watch it sail away for this nice 12-second break. That's the only break I have in the run. Otherwise, it's pretty much straight inputs through the end. So as we watch it sail away by SSN.
Yeah, if you do have half of a donation, then I'm kidding. But really, if you do have donations, I feel like this is a good time to do it, just because the small cutscene. We just have to go to lands at this point.
Yeah, one is fine here. I'm actually getting ready to do the last RNG manipulation of the game, but it's not super hard. But if you have one, that's great, because I do have to do a few things before then.
So no donations, but again, I just want to remind everybody that I know our donation seems like it's a bit far. Again, I just want to remind everybody, you guys, if everyone in the chat just donated a few dollars, we could smash this 3K, blow it out of the water. So again, if you have a few bucks to spare, like, you know, please do donate. It's going to a great cause. So it is going to go rescue a nonprofit no-kill dog shelter in Norfolk, Virginia. We just had an interview, not from this last run, but the run before we had a interview. Nate here, also known as Conception, was on the call, listening to the stories she gave us. There's some very heart-tugging. So definitely, please help help this charity. Exclamation point donate. Also, make sure to join the Discord. Exclamation point Discord.
Excellent. So we got this RNG manipulation. Perfect. So few things happened there. I went to the shop and I bought 4 repels and 4 paralyze heals. The paralyze heals are purely for safety. They're actually not even for Surge. Surge can't paralyze us here, but they are for later on, in case we get a little bit unlucky. And repels are obviously just so we don't hit encounters at later points in the run. Then I taught Bubble Beam to Nidoking, which is ridiculous that it can learn it again, but movesets are crazy in Gen 1. And then I also taught our Paris, Monty Mole there, Cut and Dig, because we needed to cut through that bush immediately, obviously. And then Dig we're going to use in just a second after we defeat Surge here. Now, I then saved immediately after cutting and did another, our third and final RNG manipulation of the run to crack this puzzle in Surge's gym here. So if you played this game when you were a kid, you probably had to deal with the annoyance of trying to figure out which 2 cans unlock Surge's door here. And it is, I agree, very annoying. And before we had an RNG manipulation for that, we just had to follow specific patterns and hope for the best. And this could be a real run killer. But we basically manipulate the cans to that, if done correctly, it will be that first center can and then the can immediately to the left of it. And then that unlocks the door easy peasy. And then we also don't have to fight any of the trainers in the gym as well. So that's what I did.
Very optimal, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
A lot of time.
Yeah, before RNG manipulations were discovered in this run, that you could lose 2 minutes on just trying to solve that stupid puzzle. You would just have to hope to get lucky. But here we go into the Pokemon fan club. We talked to the owner to get the bike voucher, and then we immediately use Dig from here. Another one of those weird buildings that will allow us to dig. And teleport. And if you're unfamiliar with how Dig works in the overworld, it will then revert you to your last Pokemon Center, which we did not use the one in Vermilion at all. So the last one we used was in Cerulean, which is perfect. So now we can get our bike finally. And then head on over to our next destination.
Just touching on what Sloa said earlier, we are getting pretty close to that 3K, so donations are appreciated. Though if a small handful of people did want to hear Crickettoon's cry, Kricketune is number 402 in the Pokedex. So if a small handful of people donate $402 to get some Kricketune cries up in here, who knows?
Yeah, who knows what can happen.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ness for doing that research to see what 402. Very good. Okay, this fight used to be scary because this would be one of the few fights in the run that we would depend on getting a 4-turn Thrash. But since we switched over to using Mega Punch, we just Mega Punch the first Oddish and then Thrash the last 3, and it's not dangerous anymore. So, just shout out to that. You also noticed that when I was using my menu that I swapped my bicycle to the top, and that is just optimal, so I don't have to continuously scroll in my inventory every time I want to use the bike. If you're familiar with later gens, you can register your bicycle to your select button, so you can just press select and then get going. But Gen 1 does not have that, so anytime I want to use my bike, I have to go in my menu to use it. So.
Yeah, some parts of Gen 1 just did not age.
Yeah, that's one of them for sure. Another one in a similar vein is that if I want a Pokemon to use an HM move, I have to go in the menu to use it. I can't just like say click a boulder and say, do you want to use strength? Can't do that. I have to go into my Pokemon, use the Pokemon that has strength, and then I can do it.
Yeah, that's why I do prefer Gen 4.
That's fair.
Yeah. But if you do want to talk about what gen you prefer, get in those $402 donations.
Yeah. We're looking for $402 donations, but we'll kind of take anything we can get at this point.
Yeah, this is for charity. You gotta say, again, for like the 5th time in the past 30 minutes.
So something very interesting here. This is Rock Tunnel, which is how we're going to get to Lavender Town. Notice it is very dark, and notice I don't have Flash. To get Flash, you actually have to catch 10 Pokemon. I don't catch 10 Pokemon in the whole run, even counting evolutions. We end with 7 or 6 even maybe. So we can't. Not only do we not want to get Flash because it's slow, we actually can't. Because we don't have enough Pokemon. So we are just going to go in Rock Tunnel knowing where we're going, and then we just know the path at this point. So I actually did.
Yeah,
go ahead, Ness.
If you do mess up, that means you do have to donate money to our fantastic charity. I mean, you don't actually have to, but
I mean, that's fine. I was already planning on donating for if I have any deaths. I was going to say $10 per death. So there is some options for that here.
Yeah, there are some serious stakes in this run now.
Mm-hmm.
If people do want to match.
So both Slowpokes that I've just recently encountered, I've taken damage from on purpose because I want to get into Red Bar here. I'm actually a little bit lower here than I like, but I am in Red Bar, so that is good. So when we go to this next trainer, which is already dangerous, I'm actually going to save just in case. This next trainer has the true villain of the run as their lead Pokemon. Check out who it is. That's right. It's Oddish. Oddish is absolutely brutal in these runs because we don't have a great way of dealing with Oddish, and a lot of Oddishes that we happen to face are ranges. Like this one is a range, and we got very lucky. We missed the range. Oh, we missed the Bulbasaur range too, and we're dead. Yeah, so that's $10.
Yikes.
That's fine. So both of those Pokemon are ranges, the Bulbasaur being very favorable, the Oddish being mid-range. We actually got lucky with the Oddish because we didn't hit the range, but it used Poison Powder, which is exactly what you want to see because we can't be poisoned. So that was fine. But then we missed the Bulbasaur range, and I was hoping to get Leech Seed instead of Vine Whip because then Leech Seed wouldn't have killed us, obviously. But we didn't get that lucky. And one key thing I have to remember after this is when you save and reset now, Absorb is actually fine here too. It's a little risky, but we'll see what we get. I actually have to, so I was in the middle of using a revive before. But I actually have to remember I have to use a revive right now. I mean, not a revive, a repel right now. Because when you reset the game, it actually doesn't save your progress for repels. It removes it completely. So,
I didn't know that.
yeah, and at least in Gen 1, I don't know if that stuck through later gens, but yeah, so I usually use the repel later than there, but I had to use it right away in order to not hit encounters.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do get saved in some of the later generations.
Yeah.
I hope so. I've been running them.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. This hiker is not at all scary because it has just rock Pokemon, and we're just gonna Bubble Beam to win. I think I have to heal for the next one though. The next one has a Pidgey in the middle that can quick attack, and then we also fight one more trainer that has a Vulpix that knows quick attack shortly after. If either of those quick attacked us, we'd be dead. So I'm gonna have to heal here, but I'm gonna wait until after so I can keep red bar through the hiker. That's fine. So we'll just use a quick little potion there. Not optimal, we'll say, but you know what? I like not dying, so shoutouts to not dying. But that is one death, so mark it $10 that I'm donating.
That is counted.
All right, another annoying one. This Oddish isn't annoying to us. We kill this one guaranteed, but you just don't like to see Oddishes. Because hey, it was worth healing because we would have died. So there you go. I did the right thing. And now we're in red bar, but we're not going to be able to keep it for long because we are 1 health below the red bar threshold. So the next time we level up, we're going to lose it. But there we are. We're out of Rock Tunnel. We're in Lavender, which we're just going to completely get by right now. We will be back though. And we have this Gambler. Ooh, wow. That is an incredibly favorable range. Oops, well, okay, fine. That'll do it. I meant to use Thrash there, but it doesn't really matter. I think that range is like 93%. So the fact that I missed it was pretty unlucky. But that's fine. We're actually in decent health shape to keep red bar for the next couple trainers, which is nice. So there we are. We're done fighting trainers for a little bit. We have our shopping segment coming up, but first we're gonna get 2 hidden items in this underground tunnel. And I'm just gonna use a sound cue for those, so hold on. Oop, just missed it by 1 tile. Ooh, that one wasn't even close. I don't know what I was thrown off because I missed the first one by 1 tile, so my sound cues were off. But we pick up an elixir there, and then we pick up a nugget. Nugget we're just gonna sell, and then the elixir is gonna be important for the end game and stuff like that. But here we are in Celadon.
I do have just a for fun banter question real quick.
Go for it.
What's your favorite split in the entire run?
My favorite split? That is a great question. Let me just sell these things so I don't screw this up. I really like the Erica split, actually. Not so much because I like the Erica gym. The Erica gym is actually a cakewalk. It's not a challenge for us at all. But there is some really optimized but very, very simple movement that happens when we go to the Pokemansion right before Erica that I just like it. It's very calming. When you get to that point in the run, it's just kind of like mindless and soothing. So when I get there, I feel at ease. So I'll go with that one. Also, it's not a specific split, but I also really like the movement in the Safari Zone that we do. So that's another one I really like, which is coming up a little bit sooner.
Yeah, I'm not familiar enough with the Gen 1 runs to know like the Safari Zone movement, but
Yeah.
I have seen it at least one time, and it did look pretty neat.
Yeah, it's not that they're like complex movements or anything like that. It's just soothing. I just like doing it. I don't know. Hard to explain. All right.
So I do just want to point out that this game does say soda pop, so this game is in fact Midwestern.
Oh yeah, absolutely. For sure. And then that concludes our buying segment for the only buying segment we do for the whole run. We bought a lot there, so we can pick it apart little bit by little bit here. Let's go backwards to forwards. So the last thing I bought was a series of X items. Mostly X accuracies, but also X specials and X speeds. I'm gonna save what X accuracies are gonna do for us for a little bit later. But basically, all these X items do is they improve the stat that is mentioned. So X accuracy improves our accuracy, special improves our special, speed improves our speed, obviously. We also bought a soda pop from that vending machine up top and then immediately gave it to a little girl who gave us a TM. Actually, hold on one second. I have kind of a tough menu here, and then I will finish explaining. Rip to Mega Punch. Okay, so we're through there. She gave us that TM. We actually just used it as a TM for a Rock Slide, and we're going to only have Rock Slide very briefly. We just need it for some encounters in this Pokemon Tower. We also bought some super potions, which that's obvious. We bought 2 revives, which is actually unique for this route that we do for like marathon races. That just makes it extra safe. If we die twice, then we have revives to back it up. That's all that is. We also bought another TM in the shop, TM07, which is Horn Drill. We're actually going to teach that pretty shortly. I'm trying to think did we buy anything else. Oh yeah, one very important thing, which is a Pokédoll. A Pokédoll is a item that enables you to be able to run from any encounter, which I will also dive into in just a few minutes because we're going to use it pretty much right away. Okay, we don't want to see Vine Whip here. That's fine. We're gonna survive unless it crits. Okay, we didn't crit. It does 11 damage. The reason why we don't want to see it is because we have one more fight that we're gonna do before we get fully healed. We're gonna use Rock Slide. The trainer has 2 Ghastlies. We're gonna use Rock Slide, which is guaranteed to kill if it hits. But as we saw yesterday in Ness's Pokemon Stadium run, Rock Slide is not a 100% move.
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah. And
Bringing back memories.
I know. And the same goes here. It's a 90% accurate move, so we could get some misses. So we could see another death here. Very reasonable.
So it's basically just like 5% accurate.
Yeah, 5% or so. So you might be a little confused actually at this point, because if you're familiar with what happens in the story of the first gen Pokemon games, you're not supposed to be in here without a certain item. That certain item being called the Silph Scope. The Silph Scope enables you to see the ghost Pokemon that pop up in here. Of course we got a miss. Of course we did.
Nice.
Of course we did. We do not want to throw out our bird. Let's throw out Squirtle. 1 second, let me bounce back from this, obviously. That's another stupid $10. couldn't just keep me alive, could you? Tail Whip.
Yeah, so whenever like bad things happen like this, like just your main dying or just like 10% misses and stuff, I just feel that Pokemon runner like solidarity.
Yeah.
like I feel heard on the Speedruns live stream on Twitch.tv.
Yeah, we're just like, yeah, welcome to the club. I had I'm literally about to encounter a heal pad that heals my complete party. I just needed to survive that last Ghastly. Now I had to waste a revive, but whatever. That's fine. We grab an elixir in that first screen, and then we grab another hidden elixir right there. Very important for later on. What was I talking about before that, though? Oh, yes. So we're supposed to have the Silph Scope in order to see the encounters here. I used a Super Repel, so we're not seeing any encounters. That's why. And then this leads directly into what we use the Pokédoll for. So the only encounter we do have to see is what would be the adult Marowak coming up here in just a moment. We can't see what it looks like because we don't have the Silph Scope, because it's just going to pop up as a ghost appeared. But we use the Pokeball in order to flee from it. The Pokédoll, rather, in order to flee from it. You might be thinking... And by doing that, I should also explain, it skips the whole sequence where you have to go into the game corner and fight Team Rocket Underground and fight Giovanni for the first time. It skips that whole segment, so it probably saves like 10 minutes in the run or something like that doing it, doing this.
It's only 10?
So 10, yeah, 10 optimally, because we don't pick up a lot of items that we would skip some trainers and stuff like that. So, but it's still 10 minutes inside a 2-hour run is pretty significant. But so we skip all that. I'm gonna teach Horn Drill here.
Yeah, I'm so used to Gen 2. That takes like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Mind if I pop in just real quick for a donation?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So we have $20 from Autobit asking Conception.
Mhm.
If you were playing casually, what's your favorite common Pokemon? Like Rattata is a common. Safari Pokemons are not.
Safari Pokemons are not. Okay. So, we're sticking Gen 1 only, right? Let's see.
Sure. It doesn't specify that, but yeah, sure, we'll go.
Yeah, well, it makes it simpler for my brains.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with... There's so many good options here. So my favorite Pokemon is Arcanine. So if you count Growlithe as common, because you can get Growlithe in the grass before Vermilion, I'll go Growlithe. That's an easy one for me. But if we don't count that because it's a little bit unique, then I will probably go with Pidgey, because I really like the Pidgey line, like Pidgey, Pidgeotto, Pidgeot in terms of like aesthetic. I'll go with Pidgey. Also, shout out to the Golbat sprite right here. Absolutely nightmare fuel.
If we're talking Gen 1, I think mine would be yeah, the Golbat sprite just popped up.
Absolute nightmare fuel.
Yeah, Zubat's probably my favorite common, just because he's such a good boy. But I'm a Gen 5 boy myself, so I would have to say like Sandile. I love
that's a good one.
Sandile.
That's a good one. That's a great choice. All right, so some tech is happening here. So we use the Pokédoll to get out of that Marowak fight, skipping the whole sequence of having to go in the game corner and get the Silph Scope, yada yada yada. I'll come back to that in a second. We just used a very key piece of tech in this run, which is that we used an X accuracy Horn Drill combination. Now this is fixed in later gens, but in this generation, what X accuracy does, it doesn't just improve your accuracy, it makes your accuracy 100%. Doesn't matter what move you use. And we also combine it with Horn Drill. Horn Drill is a move that is typically a 50-50 shot, but when it lands, it's a one-hit KO. When we use X accuracy with Horn Drill, it is a 100% one-hit KO move. So we will utilize that a ton through the run. It's absolutely broken.
So it does only have like a handful of PP, so you can't absolutely abuse it.
Yeah, there's only five Horn Drill PP by default. Some routes have you pick up a PP up, which will actually increase it to 6. I don't do that personally, but there are some people who do. But yeah, so you can't use it just constantly through every fight, like Ness said, but we use it for very key situations.
Yeah, if I was running like without Horn Drill, it would probably make the route like a lot harder. And if I did use Horn Drill, but I didn't have the X accuracies, like the game would just be like impossible. Like it would not be very fun. Like at the very end of my Steam run, I hit 1, but that was like second try. I spent like a lot of time trying to just hit an Oko move. It's 50%, but like really it's like 2%.
Yeah, exactly. So typically we just fly immediately here, but we gotta help out our friend Nido with a better name, and we're gonna go with our #1 donated name, which was Kamina-stan. We're gonna change Nidoking's nickname to Kamino-stan. All right. There we go. So now we got all of our nicknames represented. Oops.
That nickname fit really snugly right in there.
Yeah, people really took the extra mile with making sure it's 10 characters. I think the 3 nicknames we got were 10 characters, 9 characters, and 10 characters. So they went the full length, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for those who donated towards that incentive originally for Pokemon White 2. Whoops. But we adapted.
Improvise, adapt, overcome.
Exactly. All right, so now we're gonna enter Saffron, not to fight Sabrina just yet, but we're actually gonna go to the Silph Co building and do this length of the story. It's not terribly difficult. Again, this is a sequence in the story that when you played it as a child or you played it, casually, it's probably took you a good chunk of time because there's so many floors, but we make pretty quick work of it.
I have a question actually.
Go for it.
Do X accuracies, do they negate Gen 1 misses?
They absolutely do. Yes, they do. Which we haven't mentioned in this run yet what Gen 1 misses are, and that is awesome that we haven't, because that means I haven't had one, so that's good. But I mentioned this in Ness's Pokemon Stadium run yesterday, and these handheld games at the very least, there is what is called a Gen 1 miss, which means that even moves that are 100% accurate have a 1 in 256 chance to miss for no reason, just because that is how the game is coded.
Also,
Go ahead.
sorry, I just want to come in. Also, I just want to let Ness know you got to pay for that.
I do.
Really?
You're right. But I'm also on commentary, so
And that doesn't excuse it.
it excuses it just a little bit. I have a handful of free questions.
Yeah, that's. I'll allow it. I'll allow it. But yeah, so
Fair enough.
luckily we haven't had to deal with that yet. But as Ness asked, when we use an X accuracy, that it actually completely negates the chance for a Gen 1 miss as well. So it makes it truly 100% accurate. So we fight that trainer that has the Arbok. That is arranged to kill it in 2 shots, so that the fact that I got it in 2 is pretty good, so it's just a little bit fast. We get the card key, pick it up, hit a couple key warp points, and now we're already basically at the end of this area. We fight a rival here, which the rival... So we're going a little bit out of order in terms of what the game intends for sequence. So all of our rivals' Pokemon are actually much higher level than us, but it won't matter because we're going to have all these X items and we're just going to completely blast through it. So we're going to use an X accuracy and an X speed here. And you might be thinking, oh no, sand attack, right? Doesn't matter because I use an X accuracy. It completely counteracts all that stuff. X accuracy is broken in this game. And then because we use X speed, now we outspeed all of our rivals' Pokemon as well. So we just horn drill to win.
Yeah, this does remind me of some of the newer Pokemon runs, because you do just skip a lot of fights, and then you're really underleveled, and you're like, well, here, my combo starter, I'll give you like 20 X items, and hopefully you don't die while I'm setting up, and then you just like Oko everything.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah, even runs of like Pokemon Sword and Shield, which are obviously the most recent games, use that strategy as well. Lots of they just do longer setups where they might have to use 5 or 6 X items as opposed to just a few. But or just one, which is what we do. There are only a few fights where we have to use 2 X items. Most fights we only have to use 1 if we have to use any at all. So that's pretty good. But make quick work of the rival here. That guy just to my left gives you a free Lapras, which we don't need. So bye.
Yeah, actually, I was working on a route a little bit ago of Soul Silver glitched Manipulous, and one of the final fights in that, it was against Lance. I have to set up like 6 or 7 X items just because, like, without it, you just can't really do anything.
Right.
You just have the red Gyarados, it's like level 40, and you're trying to kill everything, and it's like level 50, 55.
Yeah, exactly. We even when we get to our Lance fight in this game, that Gyarados can give us problems, which we'll see a little bit later. But we're gonna do 2 key things here. I used an Ether purposely on turn 1 in hopes that Cubone would use a Bone Club on me, because Bone Club does a good chunk of damage. We actually want to take some damage on purpose here. Didn't get it, unfortunately, so I did something similar on Drowsy, where I used X accuracy on him to stall for 1 turn, but also because we need to use Horn Drill. And we got Confusion, which did a decent chunk, but we actually still need to get more damage even. All right, and then we're already at, this is meant to be the second Giovanni fight of the run, but this is our first one because we skipped that whole game corner situation. So this fight is pretty simple. We're gonna X accuracy on Nidorino. I was hoping he would damage me there, so that's great. We still probably need at least 1 more hit. We'll see when we get a little bit later. But right now the health looks pretty decent. Yeah, I think 1 more hit will be necessary though. That's fine. And then we just bubble beam this Rhyhorn, and then we have 1 more Horn Drill left for his Nidoqueen at the end. Which actually brings up a good point. A lot of people, whenever I'm running this game in my stream, or I just see it a lot in other people's streams as well, they ask, well, can you do Nidoqueen instead of Nidoking in the run? And unfortunately you cannot, and there's a couple key reasons. One, the stats that you can get on Nidoking are just so much better than Nidoqueen, unfortunately. Nidoking focuses more on attack, while Nidoqueen focuses more on defense. Which defense is not super useful, unfortunately, to the speedrun. So we can't do it that way. Also, the moveset that Nidoking learns is just unparalleled in terms of the moves that we give it. So we just Nidoking has to be the choice, unfortunately.
Yeah, Nidoqueen is used a little bit in some of the other Gen 1 games, primarily like Stadium. I had to use Nidoqueen a little bit, just because she is really useful with that defense and being able to dish out some really good moves at level 100. But I can definitely imagine in the handheld games, you really can't do that because you're at level like 30 and your stats just aren't that good. And you're still trying to develop a moveset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course, keep in mind when I say all this as well, I'm not saying like, hey, you can't even go out and develop your own Nidoqueen run. People have done that. All I'm saying by the fact that it's not super useful is that it won't get you world record, is what I'm saying. That's all I mean by that. But if you want to develop a Nidoqueen route or use people's Nidoqueen routes that they've used in the past, go for it. No, there's no rules. Go ahead.
Yeah, speedrunning's about having fun.
Yeah, exactly. Catch this Snorlax and run with the Snorlax if you want. I'm not going to, but you can.
Yeah, shoutouts to PSR for just existing. Like, if you need help developing a route, you can join in there, ask around.
All right, so right before that fight with the Snorlax, oh, actually, no, we were right. Ugh, just missed it. There we go. Want to get this hidden rare candy there. I used a repel, which is obviously so I can go into that grass and get that rare candy. But I also swapped the rare candies I have in my inventory up just because I'm going to use them in the not too distant future. And that just that occurs a lot in the run. We'll just swap things up because we know we're going to use them. Oops. So instead of having to scroll all the way down to use them, we'll just swap them up because we'd already have to menu anyway. It's just a little bit of an optimization.
I forget that you're able to like sort your items in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. That's actually pretty key for us. We have to scroll down here anyway, so we're going to move our X specials up for later on because we're going to use our Earthquake TM that we just picked up in the Silph Scope building. And we say goodbye to Thrash finally. No more Thrash. All right, and here we are in Fuchsia. We got some key story things we have to do. Which first thing we're going to do is we're going to go in the Safari Zone, which I shouted out earlier as just having some fun movement. Like I said, not at all challenging, but it's just calming. Nothing can happen to you. It's just good. It's a good time. So we're going to go into our inventory, use a super repel, use our bike, and then just ride around a little bit. Does it defeat the purpose of the Safari Zone? Absolutely, because we're not going to catch a darn thing, but we do have to go to the end to get some key items, so.
Yeah, just something really quick to mention. We are at like 1 hour, like 25-ish minutes, right? And the estimate's 2 hours, 5 minutes, if I'm correct.
Correct. Yep.
The end of this game really like picks up in pace. You may be like sitting there, like struggling to stay awake, but like right now, pretty much like at this point onwards, the run does pick up in speed by a lot. And it's one of the reasons why Gen 1 is so fun, because it does pick up in speed.
Yeah, that's a great point. You might be wondering, I have 3 badges right now, and we are an hour and 25 into the run. How am I going to finish it in 2 hours and 5 minutes? And you'll see. We'll just say that. But we come to the end there, we pick up the gold teeth, and then we grab this HM, which is going to be very important. And then we can actually leave the Safari Zone here. We just had to get to the end in order to grab those 2 items. So we dig out, and then we're actually going to fly back to Fuchsia. And now we're actually going to get our 4th gym badge right here.
So at this point, the game's it's not exactly open world, but it's getting there. We just have a lot of stuff that we can do.
Yeah, we front load a lot of what we need to do to progress the story in the first parts of the run, so that at the end it becomes kind of like a boss rush. It's an interesting routing thing, but it's the most optimal by far.
Some of the cantos in different Pokemon runs are like that. Like the end of Heart Gold Soul Silver is like that. The route for Let's Go Pikachu Eevee is like that. Same thing with Fire Red Leaf Green. It's just really optimal.
And then this fight is very simple. It's just Earthquake to win, which is nice. The next fight is a tiny bit scary. It's not as scary because we have a revive, obviously, but there is a small chance we could die. But it's not very large.
What's Nidoking's special like, by the way?
It's maxed, I believe. If it's not maxed, it's 1. So this game has values called IVs, which are basically a number between 1 and 15 that determines how like maxed out the skill is, basically. And like I'd mentioned earlier, this Nidoran we caught has almost entirely max IVs. So the special IV specifically is either 15 or 14. I can't remember, but it's really high up there. The lowest IV we have is defense, which is 13. So.
Yeah, technically, like they are the same thing, but technically they are called DVs in Gen 1 and 2, I think. But they are basically like the exact same thing. In Gen 3, they replaced it with IVs and EVs.
So I meant to stall here. I forgot. So usually what we do is we Earthquake and then Thunderbolt to win. But I forgot I needed to take a little bit more damage, so I should have Thunderbolted then Earthquaked. Because then if I needed to stall 1 additional turn, I could have just Thunderbolted again. But just in order to stall, what I did instead was I just used the Poke Flute, which I obviously did nothing. So it stalled for 1 turn in order for me to get some more damage. That's all that was. But that Hypno is the scary part of that fight. If it had crit Confusion me, I would have died. And it did use Confusion, but luckily it didn't crit, so that's good. And here we are at Koga.
That coughing sprite is pretty spooky. It does have the skull and crossbones.
Yep, sure does. You get to see it again if you missed it.
Yeah.
For some reason, coughing sprite has the face on the bottom instead of the top, but who knows?
Yeah. Actually, coughing used to like terrify me as a kid. I'm not gonna lie. Like my first game was Blue, and I just didn't get past the first part because of Lavender Town and coughing.
Yeah. Oh no, I died. Jeez, damn it. What am I gonna do? I was not supposed to die there. I didn't expect it. No one's buying it, so that is a scripted death. Still counts though. I'm still putting $10 towards it, but I knew I was gonna die there, which is why I wanted to take damage. You saw there, I used an elixir on the Weezing, and then we got decently lucky with the turn 1 self-destruct. The reason why I've been taking damage this whole time is because I wanted to, by level 40, have 79 or less health, because that will guarantee my death, which obviously just makes it faster. The death is faster. We don't get the experience from Weezing, but we don't need it. Obviously self-destruct kills the Weezing as well. Then the interesting thing is, so we had these 3 rare candies, right? When you use a rare candy, obviously it increases your level, which increases your health, and when your health increases even when you're dead, it will raise your health and increase it by the amount it's raised. So because I leveled up 3 times, I gained 10 health. Oh, actually no, we don't need to use a bike there, and I'm no longer dead. And if you're thinking, why is that important, is because we are going to be in red bar now for a very long time.
Yeah, sweet treats are just that good in Pokemon.
Yep. All right, and now we fly back home to Pallet Town. We have to head south here. Shout out to if you played this game casually and you're like, man, I just cannot find Cinnabar Island, right? If you surf directly south from Pallet Town and go 1 tile to the left and then just hold down, you will get right there. And you do not have to fight any trainers. So we just hold down and voila, we're here. Very simple.
I wasn't in the Primo guide.
Yeah, you would have thought, but nope. So we used a repel right before we surfed, obviously because we don't want to hit encounters in the water, but we have very exact movement here down to the tile. So I want to make sure that I don't mess up my movement by walking extra tiles, or else our repel's gonna run out a frame too early, which would just mean we have to use an extra menu, which is slow. It doesn't like make it super dangerous or anything, but I don't want to use an extra menu. And perfect. So you actually ran out right there on that square, which is perfectly fine because I need to go into this menu anyway. So we saved a menu by doing that properly. So we taught Surf to Squirtle, where we just taught Squirtle Strength now. We picked up a TM for Blizzard, which we're going to teach to Nidoking. And this is actually going to be Nidoking's final move set. So we don't teach Nidoking any other moves. And then we use that last repel that we had. Remember, we bought 4 all the way back in Vermilion. We used 3 on Rock Tunnel, and then we had 1 left over right there. And then we actually come up here and grab this rare candy, which will be important for later on. And then the whole reason why we came here is to get this secret key, which allows us to get into Blaine's gym.
How many rare candies do you get?
Ooh, let me see if I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, I think. 6 or 7.
Anyone that has somebody for candies.
Yeah, 6 or 7. I think it's actually 6. If I counted right. Alright, and now we're in Erica's gym, and Erica is kind of the start of this boss rush here that I mentioned. Basically every from this point forward, we're just fighting gyms, flying to the next gym, fighting that gym. That's all we're gonna be doing. Of course. Love to see the Blizzard miss.
Let's go, Blizzard miss.
Yeah, that actually could have been worse, so I'm not super upset by that, because that you can get locked into a hypnosis chain by that execute. It is not a danger at all to kill you, it's just slow. But yeah, we could get locked into a hypnosis chain where it uses hypnosis, we fall asleep, then when we wake up it uses it again. But luckily we got reflect there, which didn't affect anything. So just wasted a turn. And here we are at Erica. I think this is like really the first time you're gonna get to see what Red Bar can do for us in the run, because I haven't been able to set it up super successfully due to RNG. But you can see every time a Pokemon comes out, we skip its cry, and then I can go right immediately into my moveset.
Real quick, I just want to talk about that Victory Bell sprite. What? It looks like an old banana.
Yep. That's a good way of putting it, an old banana. Yeah. But there we go. We have our 5th gym badge. Oh, another key thing that's important to mention here is that you might have noticed it in Koga, and you'll see it just then in Erica, that they try to give us a TM, and we don't have space for it, and that is actually optimal. Because if we had been picking up every TM here, we would have long text boxes explaining what the TMs do. And by just properly managing your bag space, we don't have to see any other TMs from any other gym leaders going forward, which is good. All right, now we're in Blaine's gym, where we have to answer quiz questions correctly in order to avoid trainers. Every quiz box that we talk to is going to start with the same annoying spiel. Pokemon quiz, get it right and move on. Get it wrong and face a trainer. If you want to consider your Pokemon for the gym leader, then get it right. Here we go. And then it'll ask the question. So we have to read this 7 times. And there's nothing we can do about it. And it might look like I'm answering yes for every question, and that is not exactly the case. If you press B for your answer instead of A, it will answer no instead of yes. So it's just faster than pressing down than A. The correct answers are A, B, B, A, B, or yes, no, 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 yes, no. Yeah. That first question, I always like to talk about this. That first question is very divisive, in my opinion, because it asks, the question is, does Caterpie evolve into Butterfree? How would you answer that question?
Technically it does, like, yes, but the answer would be wrong, right? Because it evolves into Metapod and Butterfree.
So yeah, as a kid, you would. So my logic as a kid was no, Caterpie doesn't evolve into Butterfree; it evolves into Metapod, and Metapod evolves into Butterfree. But you are right initially. You actually answer yes for that question.
You answered yes for that? Oh no.
Yep, that is what you're supposed to do. So yeah, that's why it's divisive. So I'm sure a lot of people as kids, or even playing just regularly, probably got that question wrong because of a technicality. Blaine is actually impossible to die to unless you massively screw up your inputs. We actually manipulate the AI a little bit here, and we do this a lot in the run. I mentioned this on Ness's Pokemon Stadium run yesterday, but most regular trainers AI, they're just stupid. They just kind of use whatever on a random chance. But our key battles usually have quote unquote smart AI. And what I mean by that is if it has a move that is super effective type against you, it will use it. And that sounds great. Like, it sounds like, hey, they're probably going to win sometimes. It's actually going to be challenging. So Nidoking is a ground poison type, which is not which psychic moves are super effective against. Now, when I say we manipulate it, that means I know there's a Pokemon that's going to use a psychic type move because it's super effective against me because it uses that smart AI. But the key thing there is not every psychic move does damage. Agility, as we saw that Growlithe use, is a psychic move. So Blaine has a quote-unquote smart AI and will continuously spam agility because it is a psychic move and that's super effective against us, but it doesn't do anything to us. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's just a funny little oversight.
Yep. And now we're at Sabrina. Like I said, we're just boss rushing at this point. Shout out to hour 25 where we had 3 gym badges and now we're about to get our 7th. Or 7, yeah.
Is this a good time to come in for a donation?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I got $38.60 from Gilgame Chi. I'm not sure how to say that in part there, I apologize. Some Gen 1 Pokemon shouldn't even have numbered Pokemon in the same way doggos isn't really a North American thing. Actually, the term comes from Australian English. Then again, the case for Gen 1 lore is usually redacted within later entries.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Today I learned.
Yeah, love learning some new stuff here.
And I believe that is a German name, so that would be pronounced Gilgamenche.
Gilgamenche, thank you.
Believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Very good. I just wanted to point out one thing. So that Sabrina fight was completely free as well. So there's nothing really dangerous here. But I just want to shout out how exactly optimized this route is. So that fight used to be dangerous because the Alakazam is very fast. Because of the stats that we have, we level up at the Mr. Mime just before the Alakazam. And that gives us exactly 1 point of speed more than the Alakazam. So that's how perfectly optimized this run is. If we had messed up just a little bit and we're under leveled, we would not outspeed that Alakazam and we would definitely die.
If you did take an optional and you had an extra level, would you have to X speed?
Yeah, that would be the key. Though, yeah, kind of like as you're alluding to there, being over leveled is not a problem. that's perfectly fine. But if we had, if we had messed, like for example, if I had gone to Sabrina early, like say I did Sabrina before Blaine or Erica, then that fight would be very difficult because I wouldn't outspeed the Alakazam. I'd have to use an X speed somewhere. And that's very tough to do on Sabrina because there's so many psychic type Pokemon there that we can die pretty easily. Perfect. So a couple things with this fight. This is our last gym, our 8th and final gym. And you might have noticed that I saved before this fight. And this fight, it's fine if I would have died because I have a revive, so it's not a big deal. But I don't want to die here because I want to keep Red Bar. And that Machoke can use Karate Chop, and a Karate Chop crit would kill us, which is why I saved, because if I had died there, I would actually rather reset and keep Red Bar than heal out of it. So, but luckily we didn't get Karate Chop, so that's perfectly fine. We did everything we need to. I am grabbing that elixir that revive just for safety, and now I'm going to use an elixir.
I'm touching on the smart AI thing again. In this gen, do they use moves like Quick Attack if they're able to kill?
They can. However, Quick Attack isn't super effective against us, so there's not if they don't have a move that is super effective. If a trainer is a smart AI trainer, again, most trainers aren't in this game smart AI trainers, but your gym leaders, your Elite Four members, they tend to be. They didn't have a move that was super effective, then it would just become random at that point. They would just use things at random. So they can use Quick Attack. And yeah, here we are at Giovanni. You might have noticed that after I beat that trainer with the Machokes, that I walked out of the gym and walked back in, because that resets that trainer's position. So I can just walk around and go right to Giovanni without having to fight any other trainers. And then we just Earthquake to win on his first 4 Pokemon, and then he has a Rhydon as the last one, which is a range to die to Blizzard. So let's see if we get it, and if not, it's fine, we just use another Blizzard, but hey, we got it.
Let's go. Hitting ranges.
That's right.
I do just want to remind the chat real quick that if you do donate like $127, I think it is, that is Jinx's Pokemon number and Pokedex number rather, and I will do the yell and cry if you guys do donate enough for that.
I'll do it too. You can get 2 for 1 special.
Heck yeah, it's like a sale.
That's right. So now we are done with our gym challenge. We have all 8 gym badges. All that's left is to go to the Elite Four. Oops. I actually want to take the lower path there. It's a little bit more optimal because it saves 1 tile of movement for the rival, but that's fine. He walked 1 extra tile. But yeah, our rival stops us here. This rival fight can be a tiny bit scary. And that is just because the Venusaur at the end will be a range. So we could die. But we'll see what we get. I'm actually going to ensure that it hits by using an X. You do not have to use an extra X accuracy here, but we're going to use Blizzard on that Venusaur, and I'm just going to use the X accuracy. I bought a couple extra to make sure that that definitely hits, so not to chance it. But even if it does hit, it's going to be a range. Very favorable range, but a range. And the reason why, again, I knew that I could set up is because this rival fight has the quote-unquote smart AI. Therefore, the Pidgeot was going to spam agility, and that's how I knew I could use a second X special here on the Growlithe, because this Growlithe will also spam agility. All right, come on, just die. Oh yeah, oh yeah, you'd love to see it. Best reaction out of this fight by the rival. He just gets completely smoked, does not land a single hit on me, and says, hey, you need more practice. I'm looking pretty good though. Sure, man, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you say.
Yeah.
I could hear the salt through the text.
Yeah. And so this is where we check in with all these people who confirm that we have all 8 badges, so it's just kind of annoying. Nothing of note here.
Yeah, is the last 35-45 minutes of this run just pretty safe?
Yeah, more or less. There are a couple of Elite Four fights that are a little hairy, mainly the last 2. And Agatha could be a little bit hairy. Lorelei and Bruno are basically free. The way we have them framed.
Mind if I come in just for a quick donation?
Do it up.
All right, so we got $10 from Jeff in 3D saying, "Let's go! Great run to close out the marathon. Congrats on raising so much." And thank all of you for all these amazing donations. You guys have just blown our expectations out the water, and we could not thank you enough. Also, with that, after this run, as long as doesn't matter. As long as Conception's still able to follow up on the donation, so that means we raised a total of 2.5 after this run. So,
oh yeah, I'd definitely be following up. No worries there.
Okay. So again, we still would like to see hit the 3K. Obviously, we're almost done with this run, so it might not be exactly possible, but hey, it'd still be great to see.
You know what I say to that? I say anything is possible.
That's true.
So let's go. Prove us wrong. Just prove us wrong.
Yes. Please, I would actually love to be proved wrong.
Sloa is saying he doesn't think you can do it. Prove Sloa wrong. Hashtag prove Sloa wrong.
Yes, please prove me wrong. Because I would actually love to see this happen.
Obviously here we are in Victory Road, which if done correctly, we will not hit any trainers. So we just have to do our various boulder shifting puzzles. This repel that I just used is exact to the square for movement, but I almost never hit it because the movement is so challenging here to do without over moving. So let's see. And if I do it, then I will save a menu, which saves about 3 seconds.
Can you use swag boulder in this game?
You sure can. I'll try and do it here. I'm very bad at it. It's a 2-frame trick. Let me see if I can do it. If not, I have one more area that I can do it. Oh, close. Yeah, not there, but I'll try it. The other one's a little bit easier for me to do anyway, so I'll try it there. Hopefully I can do it for the people.
Yeah, do it for the fans.
That's right.
If you do get it, I will donate some money.
2-frame trick. I'll add $2 for every swag boulder that I get on the last sequence. Which, like I said, not very good at it, but for the people, I'm risking it. There we go. Cool. I didn't hit an encounter.
Content.
Yeah. So I actually risked hitting an encounter there just because I didn't want to do a menu. All right, here we go. Not quite. Not quite. Come on. For the people, do at least one. Come on. Oh, man, I couldn't do it. I'm still going to donate $2 for my failure. Basically, the swag boulder, all it is, it's a purely visual trick. It does nothing. It actually costs us frames, technically, to do it. But all it is if you do it exactly right, your character model will face a different direction than the boulder is going. That's literally all it is.
It does look really funny. I do have to give it that.
Yeah, I really wish I could have done it, but I choked. I choked in front of the people. So in a PB or world record attempt, before we fight Lorelei here, we actually would deposit all of our Pokemon that are not Nidoking besides our bird. But I'm keeping all of mine because in case I die, then I can use them as revive buffers. But the strat for Lorelei is very cool. One of my favorite things. So we are manipulating Lorelei's AI here as well. So we swap to our bird first turn, and anytime that Dugong uses Aurora Beam, the next turn it will guaranteed use rest. So we use the turn that it used rest, which obviously does nothing because it's full health, to use our X item, and then we just Horn Drill to win on Lorelei. And we're already faster than all of her Pokemon guaranteed.
Let's go.
Also, just to really point this out, if you're keeping track, I have had red bar since after the Koga fight and have not lost it. So that is 4 gym battles, and I'll be able to keep it through 4 gym battles, a rival fight, and then 2 Elite Four members will be able to keep it through. That's Lorelei.
Yeah, it's mostly moderate muckiness, just like not getting like karate chop crit, stuff like that.
Yeah, and again, it just goes to the specific routing too. Like that karate chop crit that could have happened from the Machoke in Giovanni's gym is literally the only thing that could ruin us, besides if we miss an input or something. That's literally the only thing that could have screwed us up that whole time. X accuracy.
It's definitely not something we all did as a kid.
Yep.
Say that.
I actually wanted to take a hit from the Onyx here because it does get 1 turn to try and hit me. Because now I'm going to actually fall out of red bar on Bruno's last Pokemon, the Machamp. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. Just costs us probably like 2 seconds or 3 seconds or so. because after this Onyx, we're gonna level up, and then we're gonna be not in red bar because we gained health. That's all right. All right, and that's Bruno. That's 2 of our Elite 4 down. So Agatha is a bit hairy. It's pretty safe with the strat in terms of not dying. I'm actually going to save anyway because why not? Why tempt fate? But the setup for it is we're going to use 1 super potion there, and we're actually going to use our last rare candy, which just makes it so that we outspeed everything without having to use an X item. Like I said, it's mostly safe because even if things go a little bit wrong here, we can recover pretty easily, and we have 2 revives, so it's not like we would lose the run. But yeah, just I'm not ready to take chances.
I do see a question in the chat. I'm so sorry they did not pay for this, but this is something that we didn't cover earlier. We did just touch on it only. If we do use an X accuracy, instead of just increasing the accuracy by a little bit, it does make it just so that every move hits, regardless of Gen 1 misses, regardless of if it's not 100% accuracy. Every move is just going to hit every single time.
So I just realized I actually misplayed by accident. I was supposed to use X special on that first turn on the Gengar. And then when I got to the Golbat, it's supposed to die in 1 shot to the Blizzard, and I'm like, well, why didn't it die? I forgot. That was odd, but I'm gonna use it on this Arbok instead. Unlucky that it chose to use Glare, but that is exactly why we got a few Paralyze heals to counteract that. Acid is a poison move, and it won't poison us because we can't be poisoned, so it's fine. And that's actually lucky. So we want to one-shot that Golbat because it has a move called Haze, which eliminates all status effects. Okay, yeah, so this messed up my sequence, but we're still going to be totally fine. And if we use the X special on turn 1 and it uses Haze, it eliminates that X special, but it also eliminates the badge boost to speed that we get. Getting certain badges gives you a boost based on the moves that are used against you and things like that. Because I didn't set up exactly right, I did not have my speed badge boost, which is why I was slower than the Gengar right at the end there, but it ended up using Dream Eater, which was perfectly fine. All right, we're gonna use Elixir here. And we're gonna heal to at least 129, so that's perfect. And then we're gonna save. So we have 2 more fights left in the run. Lance and Champion. Lance is scary. We can easily die to Lance's Gyarados. It's going to use Hydro Pump guaranteed. As long as Hydro Pump doesn't crit, we'll survive, but it can crit. It could also miss. I'd actually prefer it to hit, so I can get into red bar. But the reason why it gets a chance is because we use X special to set up. So hopefully it doesn't crit, which is exactly why I saved before. It didn't crit, perfect. And now Lance is a cakewalk, but the Gyarados is the only scary thing there. All right, and then on Lance's second Dragonair, because we're gonna start being outspeeded, we're gonna use, we only bought 2 X speeds, and we're gonna finally use the last one. And then we are gonna just Blizzard it. Aerodactyl comes up next, we Thunderbolt it. Always seemed weird to me because Aerodactyl is rock, so you would think that Thunderbolt wouldn't work too well, but because it's also flying, it counteracts and does just enough damage. And all of our Blizzards landed, so you love to see it.
You love to see it.
So I am gonna save, but I am gonna play a little risky here because I have 2 revives. So I'm not gonna play. I'm not gonna be stupid and not save because I could do that. And it's actually pretty safe even if I didn't save. But I am gonna save, and I'm not gonna heal, which is a little bit dangerous. because we have the champion fight, which is the last fight of the run. And we have to do a 2-turn setup on the first Pokemon, which is Pidgeot. And the AI is much different now because there's no agility with Pidgeot anymore. So we have a shot to die. If it uses Wing Attack twice, we'll die. If it use Sky Attack turn 1, it's a 2-turn attack, but then we have to switch our strategy around here. Yep, which it did, so we're gonna go with a different strategy. So normally we would then use X accuracy and then Horn Drill to win, but because we saw Sky Attack turn 1, we're gonna Blizzard, so Pidgeot doesn't have a chance to land it. And we're gonna do a little bit different of a setup. You'll also notice that this fight brings back animations for no reason. There's no reason why, but now you get to see all the attack animations. Now this is when we're gonna use the X accuracy. Perfect. That's exactly what we wanted to see. That Rhydon had I think it was a 25% chance to kill us if it had used Horn Attack, or I forget the move exactly. Actually, we can just Horn Drill to win. Fury Attack, I think is what it is. All right. And then last is the Venusaur, and then that's it. It's not going to be time yet. Time ends after the Hall of Fame sequence, so we're not on time yet, but we're coming up to it.
Yes, you might want to get your hand over the stop timer button because we're getting there.
All right, so the reason I mentioned before that in a PB or world record attempt, we would deposit any Pokemon that's not a Nidoking or a Flyer, and that is because of the Hall of Fame sequence. Any Pokemon that is added in addition to it adds, I think, 8 seconds because it has to go through each Pokemon individually. So, yeah. But it's still the safer play in a marathon style because you want to be able to revive if you need to. But yeah, that was this is the run. There's nothing else in terms of execution. I'll just do some shout outs here. Thank you so much for having me for Noga 6 in general. Just being able to feature some of my favorite runs on here has been a pure joy. Thank you so much to everyone who's donated and made this the most successful event we've ever had. Thank you to the members of the Pokemon speedrunning community who have helped me out through all these years and helped me get better and better at the run. Thank you to Ness for commentating and bringing some excellent liveliness to it.
Heck yeah. Thank you.
And time is coming up on the fade out after Oak finishes talking here. And time. We did it. I don't want to keep us too long. It's about 4:30 a.m. my time, so I know we're gonna want to get to close out the marathon. But just thank you so much to everyone who has watched, who has donated to get us to this mark. It has been incredible. Thank you for those who stayed up to watch the run. If you're interested in Pokemon, just go on speedrun.com, search the Pokemon game that you're interested in running. The Discord will be just to the left of the leaderboards. Just go ahead and join it. We're a friendly bunch. We'll be able to help you out with whatever game that you want to learn. And then, yeah, just follow me as well. Conception2 is my username. I stream some Pokemon. I stream some Harry Potter, mostly just RPGs, speedruns. But I also do some quirky things. Yeah, I also do some quirky things like Disney's Extreme Skate Adventure I just picked up as well. So yeah, we have fun over there. So join us. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you so much.
Before we get cut, I do want to do something real quick.
Okay, please.
I don't know exactly how much we raised during the run. I don't know if it was exactly like 127, but I'm still gonna do the
shout outs to Jinx. Yeah, for the fans. Thank you. Thank you, Jinx, for being here for me.
That was a great thing that I need too.
But yeah, thank you guys so much again.
Indeed. So with that being said, I guess we should switch on over to the outro, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do it, I guess.